Assalamu alaikum students. I hope my all of the students are good, fine, and okay with your routine work. They are functioning with their skill and at ease. So I'm here with you people once again with a very purposeful topic, and the name is reading comprehension. You are familiar with comprehension, but reading comprehension means what sort of comprehensions are about. For example, reading comprehension refers, determines, denotes, shows actually the ability to understand information presented in written form. Presented in written form. So presented in written form. Well, this skill usually is helpful for the textbook assignments, for the research articles, or in newspapers, or some international or national journals, some business documents, reading passages given in competitive examinations, for example. One's level of reading comprehension skill will affect even one's interpretation. Now, one is reading comprehension and the other one is interpret. How you interpret that dialogue, that passage, such as what to do and when to do and how to do and where to do, what to do, when to do, how to do, where to do, that appear on certain documents such as instructions, manuals, puzzles, manuals, quiz, schedules. Hence, it is important to strengthen one's skills in comprehending various texts. One needs to understand the difference between the major two sort of reading comprehensions are factual, 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 and inferential, 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 inferential comprehension. To know why one is able to interpret certain texts, one should also try and assess one's ability to understand, to comprehend, to allow the text through some tests. Now, first of all, one must be familiar with the difference between factual, as factual comes from, as factual arises from, as factual is driven from the word fact, F-A-C-T, fact. Fact means some specific information. So actually, factual questions are asked to check the reader's understanding of specific event, any event, specific event. For example, 23rd of March, for example, 14th of August, any idea, for example, any idea, for example, what is the reason behind, what is the idea behind the Independence Day, theories, theories of Darwin, theories of evolution, theories of social stratification, theories of um, melanire crops or agriculture. So this is how the various peoples etc. The reading text, whereas the inferential questions are asked to judge whether the reader can conclude, means can comment, means can summarize, means can predict some probable result based on whatever they have read. Readers can find answers to the factual questions in the passage itself, but they cannot find the exact answer of inferential questions. Actually, they have to go beyond the text, some far away from the text. Then they judge and can give or can conclude the inferential question. I am sharing with you one comprehension passage. I'll read it for you, people. On the basis of climate models, some scientists predict a potential increase in global surface temperature of between 1.5 degrees C and 4.5 degrees C in the next 50 years. This may not seem like much, but 4.5 degrees C equals the total temperature rise since the peak, the last ice age, 18,000 years ago, and the increase will be even higher in some regions. The average could be slightly lower in the tropics, but at last doubled at high latitudes, mainly because of the disappearance of ice and snow. Snow-free land surfaces absorb more of the sun's rays than snow-covered surfaces. So, warming by the sun will increase as the duration and the area of snow cover diminishes. Moreover, the increase in temperature can be quite large where there is a relatively low energy from the sun because of the very shallow strong temperature inversions typical of the arctical cold season. Reduced ice cover on the polar seas will also increase the heat transfer from water to the overlying air. Now this was a passage, and the first factual question asked is when did the peak of the last ice age occur? Now it is clearly mentioned in this paragraph. The last ice age appeared 18,000 years ago. So the reader can clearly see the answer and give it directly availability from the text. Inferential questions. It can be inferred, it can be analyzed, it can be inferred that the author refers to the last ice age primarily in order to what? Now the answer is emphasize the significance of the seemingly minor temperature rise. So this is how you differentiate between the two sort of answering. The first one is the factual answering, question and answering, and the other one is inferential. Inferential means beyond the text. beyond the given data, beyond the given passage, then there is a subheading of reasons for poor comprehension. To, to what extent we consider that this comprehension is very poor. The reasons for lack of understanding could be situational. First of all, it, it can be of situational, depending on the type of the reading matter, the subject of the material, and your mental or physical state. Now see, if you are people of BS students and I am giving you the passages from the PhD thesis, the research, the articles, how can you understand those crucial and very logical statements or keywords? So not all the failures in all contexts can be attributed to same factor. For every secondly, it is another factor that is to be blamed. For example, the inability to understand a word. The first reason is you can't understand a word. You did not understand a sentence. You didn't understand how sentences relate to one another. Or you cannot understand how the information fits together in a particular meaningful way. So if we can all together list that, actually it is the lack of concentration, it is the lack of interest, it is the lack of attachment, it is the lack of commitment. With that is how, therefore it is helpful for you to develop a number of strategies in order to deal effectively with different situations. But the preceding sections, such as inferring meanings, understanding and interpreting ideas, would help you to overcome poor reading and comprehension. The second topic of my lecture is study skills, double S. Study skills. Besides various techniques, while reading a text, you need to apply a certain skill in order to make the most of your comprehension. These skills may be useful in answering your reading comprehension questions. Two important skills are, firstly, the note making. Note making means you use your brain and your pencil and your hand to remember the key points of the passage. The first one is note making, N-O-T-E, note, M-A-K-I-N-G, note making, and sequencing of sentences in the proper section, in the proper. So note making actually is a systematic process of writing down important piece of information, thoughts, results, facts, opinions, views, arguments that are present in your written text, that are present in your written text. For further reference, note making is necessary for revision. Why you make notes? Students are always and always after the notes. They urge their CRs, they urge their teachers, they urge their friends, they urge their many good students to make or to provide them with notes. Actually, notes are necessary, notes are important, notes are mainly useful for the revision purpose and to revision or recall what? The main ideas, the, the prime function, the concrete thoughts, the basic information in what you have read, as you may not be able to keep in mind all important continued in a variety of material. So it is the selection of your brain, the main content. When you are making notes, you are not writing each and everything. Actually, it is the summary of any passage, or it is the main content, or it is the important portion of the passage, or it is a clear message which you put into your notes, which you put into your notes in order to save the time and energy. So it is an ability to record them with quickness and precision. Quickness, you use abbreviations, as I also use abbreviations. And the start of this topic, double S, I said, it means study skills. So in order, note makings are also done with the help of writing capital letters, writing abbreviations, giving numbers down to high, high to bottom, top, low, low to high, high to low, top to top to bottom, bottom to top. So the following are some formal note making methods. First of all, whenever you are supposed to make notes, the first word comes into everybody's mind or brain is outline. Outline, as you have the outlines of your courses, as you have the outlines of your courses. So you can make an outline of your paragraph, you can make an outline of your comprehension passage, you can make an outline of your essay, you can make an outline before writing a letter. Mostly an outline is used to write a good essays, letter, reports, whatever you are going to do, you can make an outline of it. So the best way to interpret comprehension is by making note taking note making methods or note taking techniques. And in the note taking techniques, the first procedure is to make an outline or use linear method, means listing method, means labeling method, means heading method, giving headings, giving. The second note making method is by writing a sentence, the important sentences, for example, which you use to say, the quotations, references. So the third one is mapping method or mind mapping. You start thinking in your mind and you disclose that mapping of mind onto the paper, that is known as mapping method or mind mapping. Okay, so outline. I will I will discuss a passage on Pakistani economy just over a decade after the Pakistani economy began shaking off its statistic shackles and opening to the outside world. It is booming. The surge is based on strong industry and agriculture, rising Pakistan and foreign investment, and consumer spending by a growing middle class. After growing just 4.3% last year, Pakistan's economy is widely expected to grow closer to 7% this year. The growth of the past decade has put more money in the pockets of expanding middle class, about 30 crores strong and with more choices in front of them. Their appetites are helping to fuel demand-led growth for the first time in decades. For the first time in decades, so Pakistan is now the world's fastest growing telecom market with more than 10 lakh mobile phone subscriptions each month. Pakistanis are buying about 10,000 motorcycles a day and 20,000 cars per month. 10,000 motorcycles a day and 20,000 cars per month. Banks are now making 2 crores a year in home loans with the lowest interest rates in decades and thus helping to spur spending on building. Credit and debit. Now, credit and debit. Actually, credit is the loan taken and debit is which you put into your account. Your deposit of money in your account is debit, and the loan or the money you took from the bank as a loan, that is credit. Cards are slowly but steadily gaining momentum. The potential for even more market growth is enormous, huge, vast, gigantic, a fact recognized by multinational or Pakistani companies alike. For example, in 2001, according to the census figures, census means Mardam Shumari beta, only 31.6% of the country's 18 crore households had a television and 2.5% a car, jeep or van. Now, if we have to make an outline of this passage comprehension, reading comprehension passage of Pakistani economy, you can use, first of all, the strong industry. Strong industry, then you can forward to strong agriculture, rising investment, rising investment, consumer spending by growing middle class, Expected growth this year 7% from 4.3% last year. Demand led growth because of consumer spending by growing middle class 30 crores. More money, more choices, more demand. Pakistan fast growing market because 10 lakh mobile phones subscriptions are each month. 10,000 motorcycles are sold per day. 20,000 cars are sold per month. Banks are earning 2 crores in construction while giving loans to the construction, housing, and building finance. Now, enormous potential for further growth. Enormous potential for further growth. In 2001, only 31.6% households means had a television. Only 2.5% owned a car, a personal jeep or personal van. This was how it is done by an outline method. Now the second one is the sentence method. So you have to write all your basic information. For example, there is a boom in Pakistan's economy due to liberalization that are based on it is based on strong agriculture and industry. There is an increase in Pakistani and foreign investment. There is greater consumer spending, especially by growing middle class. The growth has been spurred by demand. So everything you don't have to make just headings. You have to make statements, sentence method. That's why it is sentence method. Mapping mind means represent the main ideas in a central box circle. Represent the main ideas in a central box circle. Depict the subordinate ideas as though they are radiating from the central image. Use branches instead. So I'll be sending you the pictures from the book, page number 272. There are practice 1, there are practice 2, there are practice 1, there are practice 2 passages, reading passages. So you will be making an both outline method and sentence method. So this will be your assignment. So this will be your assignment. So this will be your assignment to complete these two practices, practice 1 and practice 2, by using the discourse coherence. I let you know with the help of coherence. Actually, the term discourse refers to the serious speech or a piece of writing on a particular subject, and the term coherence refers to the logical development of ideas within a text. Coherence refers to the logical development of ideas within a text, and it is important to sub skill for you to be aware of. Actually, actually, you have a clear cut understanding of coherence, which is technical, which is important as to be part of logical development of thought, concept, idea, logical development of concept, thought, or an idea, or an idea. So, by discussing study skills, our chapter, which is very important, the chapter of the chapter under the name of reading skills comes to an end. In this chapter, we have read about the importance of reading, the importance of reading. Then we came with the definition of reading, definition of reading, advantages and disadvantages of reading, categories of reader, levels of reading, requirements to improve reading, reading comprehension, types of reading that includes intensive, extensive, skimming, scanning, and lastly, the study skills. So, my next target and focused, my next target and focus will be will be on the chapter of introduction to communication, introduction to communication, introduction to communication. Briefly, today I'll only I'll only give you a overview what what we must be looking in, that was what we must be looking in the introduction of communication. So when you look around, you will be finding many persons are involved in multiple activities that involve, first of all, the conversation, informal conversation, discussions, meetings, presentations, on phone calls, on telephone conferencing, on video conferencing, in gossips, in chatting means on the messages, means on the messages, net surfing, chatting, and so on. In short, if I clear to you that we need to communicate in order to interact, if we have to meet another person, if we have to say something to another person, we will be communicating to each other. So मिलने के लिए communication करनी पड़ती है. So that's why communication is one of the essential conditions of social interaction. Social interaction is another separate chapter in the course outlines of sociology. Sociology, those people who do BS sociology, they read a separate chapter under the heading of social interaction. How many kinds of interaction means societal interaction. So without communication, social interaction is not possible because human interaction is only due to the communicative interaction. It is how the entire range of and social and professional means practical relationships goes on, and they play a pivotal role, PIVOTOL, pivotal role in our lives. It is the reciprocal stimulation and response. It is the reciprocal stimulation and response between individuals and makes social as well as professional interaction possible. Okay, beta, inshallah. In next lecture, this was only the general introduction of the chapter of communication. We will be reading in detail in the next lecture. So till then, God bless you. Allah Hafiz.